Recording in progress.
All right, we are recording. So thank you for those who were able to make the call today. And for those who are catching this replay on YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about the rules, right? So I'm going to share with you all what I do to identify the highest probability trade, okay? So trading it's not about coming and trading every single day, right? It's about trading the setup, like finding the setup. So yes, show up to the charts every day, okay? Show up to the charts every day to see what's coming, right? And then you are going to execute the highest probability trade. And I'm going to show you what it is that I do, okay? So quick disclaimer. I think we all understand this piece right here. There's three things, guys, that are very, very important to the strategy. And the most important thing is price action, which is the pattern, right? The count for most of you is probably going to be a little bit difficult. For me, it was very difficult, okay, in the very beginning, but eventually you will get it. But just understand this, guys. In the trend, the market maker trend, they're always going to do things in threes, okay? It's always going to be 3 days or 3 levels of pushes, whether those pushes are for the rise or for the drop. And then there's always going to be 3 ADR. The ADR is your average daily range, which is going to help you to know that this trend isn't done yet, right? Like there's still an opportunity to go short or to go long in that particular trend for that particular pair that you like so much, okay? So the indicators I use are available to you for free. They're available in that Dropbox. So make sure you have them. They're MT4. I know there's some MT5 in there, but honestly, guys, I don't see any difference in it. There's so much stuff optimized for MT4 at this time, and that's what I continue to use and continue to work beautifully, okay? So within those indicators, you'll see that work time. I use these 5 EMAs. Oftentimes, I don't use the 5, I'll just use the 13, but I have them on the chart anyway, okay? Because if I'm at the market, if I'm at my chart at the absolute pristine time, I can execute a 5-13 cross for the sniper entry, okay? So that's really what that's for. Sometimes I'll wait for the 13 to happen as well, because that's, you know, it really follows it, right? It just follows as one after the other. Then of course the TDI. TDI is helpful, guys, because it is going to allow you to see that you don't need to get out of the trade. Like you don't need to get out of it, right? So remember, I'm gonna draw the pattern here as I always do. Is this gonna let me draw? Okay, there we go. All right, so here we go. Sorry. So I'm gonna draw the bull cycle. Okay, this is your, sorry, this was a little bit ugly here, okay? So this is your W. Okay, why isn't it letting me draw? There we go. There's something wrong with my pen today. Let's try this again. Okay, we're gonna do the WV, VN. It's not gonna be that pretty. Then we're gonna do the MAAW back into the range. Okay. Do not get all worked up, guys, if you don't understand this, okay? For some reason, this pen is not working very well, so I'm going to try my best. So remember W, V, V, M, and in the TDI, you're going to see these areas. These are the areas of pullback, guys. When price is pulling back, oftentimes you will see this as your 13 and 50 cross here, and here would be your 50 and 200 cross, okay? The 50 and 200 cross is, you need this on your chart. I mean, this is literally gonna tell you if you're trending up or down, because if price is printing above the 50, it's acting as support, okay? If price is printing below the 50, it's acting as what? Resistance, okay? So this cycle, guys, can take 1 to 2.5 days, right? Which is kind of giving us that 3, or it's going to be 3 levels. I guarantee you it's going to be 3 levels. Sometimes it's not super duper clear, but it's in there. And I like to go from, I always start at the H1 time frame. H4 time frame for me sometimes is not that clear to me. It just really depends on your style, if that's what you could see. But for me, I start at H1, and then I will go and just take a peek at M30 every now and then. And sometimes M30 gives me a super clear cycle as well that I can actually see, and like, oh, there's the V1, the V2, and here comes the first leg of the M, right? Because I'm looking also for the multi-session. I don't know if I can spell that here today with this thing, but I am looking for these multi-session M's and W's on the H1 because they're going to tell me what direction price is going. Because that second day, I am looking to execute that trade right there, and I'm looking to execute this trade right here. Multi-sessions also identify that, like I said, it's identifying that this trade is done. You've done your 1, 2, 3 push all the way up. Okay, now price is in what we call level 3. And you can see it biggest day when you start to see this first leg to build, and you know, okay, I need to be at this chart the next day because this thing is going to fall. Okay, that is why I use this cycle. It helps me to identify where we're at, which way I need to trade for that next day. So that's why I say it's not necessary that you execute a trade every day. It is necessary that you come to your chart, you identify the setups that you're going to trade that next day. You might get lucky and able to trade 3 days with 3 perfect setups, right? Or not, who knows? But just know that you're gonna see these beautiful setups, and you're gonna execute the highest probability trades, which is also why this is my favorite. It's also what we call the 33 trade. Why is it called 33 trade? It's called 33 because it is literally the third day or third level, okay, which is what I like to see, and it's a multi-session. And absolutely every single time when you see this, because this is about to change the trend, when you see this here, or this new trend is starting, or a new trend is ending, you're going to be able to get the most out of the ADR, right? You're going to see 3 levels of pushes within the M15, the intraday. You're going to see that. It's going to happen beautifully for you. Okay, that happens up here and down here. And that's why I like this particular type of trade. I mean, I'm just calling it 33. It's a third day, third level, right? And it is a part of this strategy, right? Part of this BTTM strategy. So now we understand the pattern, right? What we're looking for this particular strategy, or this rule, the rules that I'm identifying for you today are mainly focused on, well, everything obviously is focused on what is price telling you, right? You have to go and see what the story is, what happened yesterday, right? So you have to identify what that pattern is, and the counts will just come to you. So let me clear this and go to the next slide. All right, so the next thing we want to be mindful of is the timing. I'm going to show you a trade that I executed. I did it on my demo account. It wasn't my live account, but it was executed. It was it met all the criteria, but it was a trade, a pair that I was not available for because I was sleepy. It was time for me to go to sleep. So if I don't wait for that stop hunt to happen, then chances are I will get stopped out of that trade, and it's a good trade. If I'm not up in time to execute that trade again, then of course I've missed it. But the last time I executed a trade before the stop hunt happened, I was able to go back into that trade when I woke up and be able to capitalize on it and make my money back. Okay, so market timing is very, very, very important. Please note that the exchanges are closed. This is Eastern Standard Time, guys. You're gonna have to go and figure out what time that is for you. Google is free. It tells you everything that you need, okay? So you have to figure out what it is for you. So just know that if you come to the charts on Asia time frame, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., that time, it's really just, markets are moving. I think it's more so robots are moving the markets, or maybe it's not the high level market makers that are there, right, moving these markets, but they are closed, right? These people are just like you and me. They come in and they work their 8 hours. You know, you and I are here, you know, working these charts more than they are, right? In terms of sitting in front of it. This right here should be able to help you to not be sitting in front of the charts when you don't need to be there, okay? And you sit in front of the charts when it's time that's gonna be for you, that's gonna work for you. So me, obviously, Asia is not gonna work for me, right? Because I am asleep. This Asia breakout, when Asia ends, a lot of people like to come and trade this Asia breakout, which is oftentimes a pretty decent trade. You can get about 20 to 30 pips because what's happening is price is breaking out of Asia when it's closing, and it is forming the London stop hunt. And this is very important that you wait. If you're not trading the Asia breakout, you probably could capitalize on this. It does work out oftentimes, right? Not going to lie to you, right? But if you're trading the London to the New York, just note that sometimes if the London patterns, and we'll talk more about the patterns, you know, on the later video, but oftentimes, guys, you know, this London pattern, if you will, could also happen in New York. So don't think if it doesn't happen in London and it shows up in New York, we still call it the London stop hunt, all right, or the London pattern, if you will. Okay, so let me see if I can draw that. So we have Asia, and then Asia breaks out. Okay, it does 3 pushes down, right? There's always going to be 3 pushes. And then it's going to, what we want it to do, right? If it's breaking out and stop hunting down here, what are we looking for? We're looking for price to give us a second leg W that we can execute that trade. And again, remember, this is the London pattern, okay? This is Asia. This is the range, okay? Nothing's happening here. And then once Asia is closing, it's going to break out. Like this is a pattern where it shows you it breaks out, it comes down here, right? And now this is the stop hunt. You're waiting for them to finish taking out the stops. Do not think that this thing is going to continue to go down. Now if you didn't look at if you're trending short, right, on your higher time frame, then obviously this might continue to go down. But chances are you want to wait for it. You want to wait for the stop hunt to be finished. And then here I am looking for them to give me a stop hunt low, okay? And then rise, right? This rise right here, this is the trend for the day, guys, on the M15, okay? This is the trend. These are the 3 pushes up that you're looking for to complete that 33 trade that I was talking about, right? And then prices are going to come back up here. They're going to range for a little bit. This trade is done. So in the M15, you're going to see biggest day, right? You're going to see the 5 and 13 cross somewhere down here. Your 13 and 50 cross will be here, and your 250 cross will be here on your M15. You're going to see that biggest day, okay? Especially on this particular trade setup, all right? So that's what I mean when I say wait for the market makers to take out the stops, right? Because this obviously could be reversed. It could be the other way around, right? You can have your Asia range, and then boom, they go up, stop hunt. You want them to, it's lovely when they give you the second leg, and then boom, it goes down, right? Right? That wasn't a pretty W. And so now this is where you want to execute your trade. And there's often times where, you know, the Asia range also is 25, I don't know what's wrong with this thing today, guys, to 50 pips. This could be 25 to 50 pips up or 25 to 50 pips down. That's why you could easily get 20, 30 pips within this breakout. You could totally do it, right? If you're available for that, all right? But I'm not. So I'm waiting for this stop hunt to be done. And then this trade is released to us, you know, the ones that know that this thing isn't going to go up anymore. And now we're in the real trend going short. Okay. 3 pushes, right? Down, M15. Okay. Hope that makes sense, guys. Okay. All right. So New York time. Now also note that these gap times, that's when the market makers from the previous session are discussing what happened, what they need, how much more money they need to collect for the new session that happens, right? So New York starts right at the bell with the futures. So I am always here when it's a day that I can trade, right? I will be available for the New York bell because that's I trade the US 30 most often, and that's when this thing starts to really move. Okay. All right, so I hope that makes sense. Let me clear this and let's move on to the next slide, if it's going to let me clear it. There we go. All right, so these are the rules, guys. I posted this in our Telegram. So these are the things that I'm looking for on the H1, right? I'm looking for what trend am I in. Some of you guys have the peak formation high-low indicators, and I'll show you what it is, how I use them to check for the direction, right, on the previous day. This helps me with my setup because I'm also looking for this right here. I'm looking for this multi-session here. That's one of my favorite trades, right? And this indicator gives me a good head up. But if you don't have this, you can use your eyes as an indicator to actually see what price just did the day before. Does it look like it's printing the second leg M, or it's printing the first leg M or W? And now you're like, okay, this looks like the second leg is coming because it looks like this trend is about to change, right? So that's whenever you become really precise in the counts and the levels and whatnot. But for now, you can literally spot this thing, right? You can spot it with your eyes, okay? And I talked just a little bit before about the London pattern. Did price break out of Asia and go up, right? Gave you a stop hunt up there, or did price break out of Asia and go down and give you the stop hunt here, right? Sometimes you'll see Asia will do this, right? It will just fall, or it's doing this and it will just rise. We call that the straightaway trade. Like it just does that. Or there's a consolidation period. I like consolidation because when it's sitting here doing nothing, going sideways, oftentimes it will go sideways for a little bit, and then you would not even see it until you look clearly that it gave you an M or it gave you a W and it just went back up, right? When this thing extends a little bit further. But if it literally drops right there, that thing is falling. Or if it rises up here, that thing is rising, right? That trade right there is gone, okay? If you didn't catch it, hopefully in the London session, you're gonna have an opportunity to come in at that pullback area. And remember, we talked about the pullbacks are within these areas here, the A1, and then the A2, right? Or it's the opposite way, right? You have your B1 right here and your B2. Those are the consolidations, the pullbacks that you can get into the trades with, okay? What else do I like to do, right? And I ask myself, like we just said, did the market makers give me a stop hunt, or did they hold it, right? Sometimes they'll hold it, right? They'll hold the level, they'll hold the low, right, down here. And then you'll see price hitting the bottom, right? Let me clear this really quickly because I want to show you what I mean. So you could see that, let's see, they drop to the low here one time, right? They don't do anything, and then they come down here, boom, they drop again, boom, they drop again, and they go. You can count that as your 1, 2, 3, right? Sometimes they don't give you much here, or maybe they do drop, in the Asia, right? But you'll see biggest day, right? If they are holding the low or holding the high, and they're giving you 3 taps to that price. Once they give you that third tap, it's game over. That's what you're looking for, okay? Then here, we're talking about marking the previous high-low on the chart. And that's what I said, right? When they do this, what I mean by marking it is, like, if you come down here, let's say they probably gave you multiple touches here because it was consolidating and moving sideways. And then they came here and they did something like that. They dropped and touched it, they touched it. And then you're wondering, but there's a lot of little spikes. If you see these little these wicks pointing downwards, that's the stop hunt too, right? That's the stop hunt. So that lets you know that they're faking people out thinking it's going to continue to go short, and it's really not. So just pay attention. You can draw the line, right? You can draw the line, put a line there and wait. If they come, sometimes I promise you, let's say this was your first stop and you drew the line from there and you're waiting for them to come back here again. And they come close, right? Or maybe they don't come close. Maybe they come to here, right? And you're thinking, okay, this thing is getting ready to go. This looks like my second leg. But then they're not ready. They're not done. They need to get some more money. Then they come super close to where this first one was, right? They come close to it, but they don't take it out. Or let's say this one beat that one just by a hair, but they come back again and don't take this out, then this trade is good. This thing is going up, right? You sometimes this could take like 90 minutes for this to happen. Okay, so the rule is if they come back down here and don't take it out, start your clock again, right? Start again, because this thing is a good trade. They did not take out that previous low within here. This is your M15. Okay, they didn't take it out, and then whatever it is, you can go once they come back to it, and then give you that. Sometimes it's like it could be a doji, and then what is that, engulfing? I don't know. I don't even remember what those are. But it could be one of those that you see there, or it could be a railroad track. I like to see railroad tracks on my H1, right? But you're going to see that these pins, usually for me, you're going to see this giant, might not be a giant candle, but you're going to see a candle that moves away. And I can't draw this for whatever reason. My little thing doesn't want to draw. But you're going to see a candle that literally shifts away from this zone. And that is, boom, that is it right there. That's the game over right there, guys. Okay. On the TDI, you're going to notice, the shark fin sometimes down there. It's going to, price is going to be, you're going to see these patterns on the TDI as well, right? You're going to see, oftentimes you'll see price bounce off of that yellow line. We'll talk about that. And to me, guys, this is like the shark fin, all this stuff is like the slingshot, right? It's getting you ready, right, to take that trade. So you're going to see that there as well for extra confluence before you execute your trade. All right, so now let's talk about, once you've confirmed this, right, on the higher time frame, now we're going into actually the higher or the lower, I'm sorry. Let me go back to this chart. So like I said, I like to look at the high H1 to verify this, right? Okay, now this goes into M15. Okay, just to make a side note, this goes into M15. Okay, you can see it super clear. It also happens on H1, it does, but I think it's super clear on the M15. You're gonna be able to see that, but this needs to happen on H1, okay? And this H1 as well. But also you'll see in M15, you can bounce off of both of them, okay? All right, so now for the H1 specific, excuse me, now for the M15, okay? Move on to the next slide. So for the entry, on the M15, for this entry, I'm looking for the TDI, the RSI, which is the black line or the green line. I have mine colored black on my chart. You will see that crossing that yellow line. That's a big clue, okay? I have the buy and sell order block indicator, which is also the ADR indicator on my chart. You should have that too. It's available in the Dropbox. And I kind of use that too to gauge when I'm going to enter, right? And then depending on what price looks like, and I'll show you, sometimes, that could be my area when that line draws on the chart. That will probably be the area where I put my my stops, like, I'll put my stop loss there. This is very important. Did price interact with yesterday's high or low? There is a indicator, which is your daily high and low. It's also called the blue tracer. Okay, this is basically showing you the previous day, right? Yesterday, the Y is yesterday's high or low. Did price interact with it? There's some times where you won't see price actually hitting it because it's doing the 3 hits to the high or the low, and it's very, very close, but it didn't hit it. And then there's times where it is big as day, where price, you have this blue tracer, this dot here, and then price goes up, right? And then comes back down. Oh my God, that trade is the bomb diggity, okay? I'm telling you, and I'll show you here in just a second. And as I shared earlier, if you missed this earlier entry, this sniper entry, right, or this close above the 13, then look for price to close or above or below the 50 EMA, depending on which trend, which way you're going with the trend, okay? And then your TPs, I mark my charts and I'll show you. I use the psychological support and resistance and the EMAs, and those are where I pretty much kind of gauge where I'm gonna take my, my profits, okay? All right, so show you a few trades that went very well. This is US 30. Again, following my rules. This is the pound Aussie, beautiful trade. This was the 11th, this was Friday. This was the pound Aussie on Thursday. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. I mean, this thing here, guys, you could have taken this thing long and short. It gave you a beautiful entry. And sometimes, guys, they're going to move, right? I'm not available for this trade, but sometimes they're going to move in Asia and give you your 3 levels down, right? Remember, I was telling you when prices come out of Asia, right? If they're down here and they just fall, right? Just be mindful of where you're at and what you're doing, because you could have an opportunity, or you just wait for the stop hunt to finish. You want to, I don't like to chase the trade. Honestly, I don't. I would just wait for this stop hunt. This down here is the stop hunt. I would wait for that to finish. Okay. These are the, see this blue tracer right here. Look how price interacted with it right here, right? So, oh my gosh, it's stop hunted down here. I look like I got my 3 hits to the low. Here's my order block entry indicator, excuse me, right here for the buy. So this is where I put my stop hunt. This was a live trade, by the way. I put my my stop loss here, excuse me, at the stop hunt here. And this is a W, guys. This is in your face, taking a second leg W. They built the first leg for you in Asia. And this is London, like first of London, right? So if you weren't available, because usually when if you're trading London, you want to be available about 1/3 of this box. Like you want to be at the charts about right here if you're not available, because you can't be up all day and all night, right? You have to pick the time that you're going to be available, right? So I'm available around this time. When I got to the charts, guys, I got here. I was available here. This is when I woke up. I think this was around 3 o'clock in the morning. That's why I like to kind of get up. And that's when I executed this trade, right? It was waiting for me to execute this trade right above the 50. And what did I say? When prices are starting to print above the 50, that is going to act as support. This is a second leg. Look at the TDI. You see the W right here. Price crossed this market baseline. And then it gave us another W here. It kind of bounced off of this. It didn't come anywhere close to this yellow. So this is a very good trade. Very good trade. Okay. And so these lines, these yellow lines, those are the psychological support and resistance. Okay. And what else do I have here? I have this EMA, right? So I can use any one of these, right? I think I was sitting in front of this trade. No, I wasn't, because it hit my TP. So this one, right, I marked it up here for my take profit, and that's what happened. Okay. All right, so let's go to the charts. Hope you guys are getting some good value. Okay. Let me switch. Let me check the chat real quick. Okay. I'm gonna go over to MT4. Okay, so you guys can see MT4 now?
Yes.
Excellent, excellent. All right, guys. So right now, before I get started, I'm just kind of go over the trades that happened this week. I want you guys to see this pound New Zealand, right? So remember earlier I was talking to you guys about the being able to see all this stuff before it happens, right? This right here, biggest day, is a multi-session W. You can see that, okay? You don't need an indicator. You need your eyeballs. You see it, biggest day. And look, it built the first leg. Biggest day, you can see this is building your first leg. So this, to me, and look back, look at the story on Thursday of June the 3rd, okay? What, doesn't that look the same? Like, okay, this is gonna give me a multi-session M. So I'm gonna be in front of my charts on Monday because I am looking for price to drop, okay? I'm not gonna take the entry right away. I'm gonna be patient, okay? Because what am I looking for? Right? I need them to finish taking out the stops. Okay. I've been in pound too early trying to go short and they're not done taking out the stops. So my stops get hit. Okay. You get hit and you're in a good trade, right? I want you guys to see something here. Not only is this a second leg M, but here is another little M right here on this, and we're on the H1. Okay, here's another little M here, and this is called the anchor. All right, this is that slingshot that you're going to use to launch this trade. Okay, down here at the TDI, I mean, it didn't even come close here to bounce off of it. This is still valid. I would have totally still taken this trade because it didn't cross. It's still down here. Look up here where shark came back in, the RSI crossed the yellow, the red trade signal crossed. I mean, this is a beautiful trade on a Friday. So all you have to do here is wait for them to finish taking out this stop, right? This right here, this pin, guys, this is a stop hunt, okay? This is the stop hunt. And then here's your anchor. You're waiting for this. And it's often going to show you this. It's going to be hidden. So that's why you got to, if you need to put, open up a chart with 1 hour and then open up another chart on the 15-minute and watch it, right? Like you got to start seeing these things kind of develop because they will literally form right in front of your eyes and you missed it because you're not looking for it, right? So just because it gave you this M, it doesn't mean that you're going to take this thing right away. You're going to wait for this second little bitty M to form and then take that right there. Okay, and this is a perfect 5 and 13 cross. Okay, perfect, beautiful setup. Okay, so that's what you're going to look for to execute that trade. And then here it gave us this. And the funny thing is with this one, we got the multi-session W. Prices came right here on the psychological support and resistance line. And then they crossed above the 200, which also acts as support. Prices crossed again up here. So you're like, okay, this thing looks like a W, like it's looking like it's going to give me a second leg W. So you're not at the chart, right? I'm not at the chart. So when I wake up, I'm looking like, oh, look at this divergence right here. Look at this. This is like super high, and this one is not as high. But look at this. Sometimes you're going to get, I'm glad this showed up, because sometimes you will get the second leg, right? And sometimes they'll just give you this little V setup to take that trade as well, okay? So look for both of those, right? But you can see clearly that this thing is going up, right? It's going up. And prices came, they tested the psychological support and resistance line, which you guys have this indicator for free as well. It's called the Aisley lines, or the Aisley, I don't know that I have it listed up here. The Isley I or something like that, that's in the Dropbox. Now, if you don't want to use it, you can just literally come here like I did here. I drew this right here. This was me drawing that. Okay, I went to my indicator, excuse me, the insert. I went to shapes. I have mine gray. So literally what you would do is you would just mark the area, right? You would mark it. The reason why this one is marked, I marked this morning, is because price came up here. So what's going to happen today? Today is Sunday. Market is going to open what, 5 o'clock Eastern time, somewhere around there. For me, it's two, no, actually 3 with the time, since the time went up. So Asia is going to reset. The high and low is resetting today, and it's going to happen here. So the Asia high and low, the psychological support and resistance is going to be here. Okay, so I'm going to move this here, because now what am I waiting for? I am going to now trade away from that, right? That's the idea. And then for those of you who have this indicator, you'll see that prices also, this indicator is also identifying that this setup is coming. So we're going to wait for the setup. We're not going to just take it blindly. We're going to wait to make sure that it does line up with the rules. Okay, so this is going to open up here for us to trade against it. And then I'm going to have the rest of this stuff marked out with these other psychological support and resistance. And again, it's not going to show Sunday on your thing here. It's just not, because these are currencies. If you're trading crypto, it will show Sunday. Okay, but it's going to start, Monday starts the new day at 5 o'clock today, right? Today's Sunday for me, but at 5 o'clock, it's going to be Monday. Okay, and then I'm going to see Monday print up here. And then this thing is going to start to draw the high and low for the week. The high and low for the week is your psychological support and resistance that you want to pay attention to these areas. And I often go back 3 Mondays, right? That's usually what I do, is just go back 3 weeks. I don't need to go back to 1999, okay, to draw support and resistance. You don't have to, because once you understand that the cycle is only 3 days, right, or 3 levels, and you know you're looking for an MAAW or WBBM, there's no need for you to do anything more than that. Okay, all right, so now let's hop down to the pound Aussie. Okay, so I took this trade on Thursday. As you can see, I planned for it. I was like, this is giving me a W, like totally, right? I saw this building. I was like, okay, this is giving me a W. And I also saw this I think this was on Thursday morning too. It was like extra confirmation, right? So this is actually, sometimes I don't catch it. If I see this that day, right? But I did happen to catch this thing. And I was like, oh, look, it's looking like this trend is about to reverse. And then the indicator did pop up, right? Sometimes I miss the first pushes, right, of this new cycle, and I only get the second one, because this, if I miss this one on Thursday, this would have told me to definitely be at the charts on Friday, because this is what we would call the safety trade, right? And this is telling me that, okay, this is, another W, right? A little anchor thing here that we're looking for to enter this trade, right? And again, it gave us this U pattern. It wasn't like on the higher time frame, it gave us this U pattern. Let's see, what did it give us on the 15-minute? So then we drop down to the 15-minute. Look at the beauty. Okay, so here's my line from the previous day. Oh, let me go back, because let me make sure you guys remember that I did highlight the areas, right? I did have my psychological support and resistance available on my chart, and I highlighted them. Sometimes, again, I do like to go in and shade them out so that I can really, really see them, okay? But for sake of time, we're not gonna do that, but the yellow lines, that's what it is, okay? So Thursday, I came to the chart. I was expecting this to give me the second leg to go up. So again, doesn't this look like the pound New Zealand? Like, they almost are similar, and that's and that's like really awesome, because sometimes I'll look at these setups and I'm like, okay, whichever one is going to move first is the one I'm going to go for, right? Because I still do work, guys. I do have my 9 to 5, although it's pretty flexible. I work from home. I can get distracted with a call or with an email or perhaps a meeting, right? So I take the ones that, and I like to be available. Like, I like to be in front of my chart. So I always have my charts open. My trading section is on the left side of my desk and my work section is on the right. Okay, so I like to move like the one that's going to move, right? And the pound New Zealand and the pound Aussie seem to move faster, or at least it did for me last week, but more than the euro did, right? It just moved faster. So this particular trade, again, I waited for the stop hunt. I was actually asleep while it was stop hunting anyway. So by the time I got up, I was able to execute this trade. And look, guys, let me look at my rules. right? What does the TDI say, right? I've already identified my TDI. I was like, oh, shoot, we got divergence. I see that you see that right here, that price crossed over the market baseline, this yellow line, and you have this little bounce off of here. Usually you might see it off of here. It's great, but we know this thing is going long, okay? It's going long all day. So we waited for you see here, it did like 3 hits to the low, okay? Now we have the cross, okay? This is a sniper entry for those super precise entries, or maybe you were available for this, right? And you were able to take this entry right there, then hallelujah, right? But I wasn't able to take that entry right there. I was only able to enter here, and that's where my stop loss was right here, okay? So from here, where am I exiting, right? I'm looking anywhere in between here to exit, right? So for this one, definitely, like I shared with you guys earlier, I had my stop loss anyway around here. Sometimes I don't put it right on the EMA, I put it a little bit away from it. But definitely these lines, these psychological lines, they're almost like pretty precise if you're going to use them to take. I'm sorry, guys, my dog is making extra noise here. I use those to take my profits, because this is your Asia high and low, right? That's where price was, where it opened for the week. So it was very ideal, important, okay? So yeah, this was totally a good trade. Took it, executed it beautifully. So the next day, because I knew this gave me my setup, I said, okay, Friday, I'm waiting, right? And I made this note on here too, because I want you guys to notice these are second leg entries. These are like the best entries. Not only did we see the multi-session on the higher time frame, we dropped down to the lower time frame and we executed a second leg, right? If you were going to be available for this in Asia, you would have taken the second leg of this M here, okay? And you would have taken this second leg out here. This is that breakout, guys, that I'm talking about with these 3 levels, right? This gave you 3 levels down. This gave you 3 levels down, right? So now, boom, price goes into a range. It taps the low. Here, it did it again, tapped the low again 3 times, okay? So I waited for this. Look at this beautiful, this is again, the anchor, the slingshot, the shark fin that came out of the water going back in. So we're looking for, right? And once this cross happens, look right here, the cross happened right there, okay? Boom, that could have been your aggressive entry right there. Some people would have taken that right there. I was not available for that. My entry was here when I came to the charts. This had already played out for me, looking for this second leg, okay? So that was my entry right above the 50, right above the 200. I executed this trade, okay? And you see how prices didn't necessarily interact with this here low, yesterday's low, but look, prices interacted up here with yesterday's high, okay? And so now we're back interacting with yesterday's high, and boom, this trade is a beauty. Now, because it's a Friday, right, you have 2 options here. You either take this first one here, this first exit here, or you can use the ADR high and low. You see you have the ADR, this is on your chart. You can use that as your exit and be done for the day, okay? Because it's Friday, right? Of course, I do expect this thing to continue to go up, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna do a stop hunt high drop before it goes back up again, okay? But look, you have to be mindful that it is a Friday and you can't hold these trades. I don't recommend that you hold them because you don't know what's going to happen when the markets open back up. You want to be flat and wait, okay? During the week, if you see, it's trending and you want to hold it during the week, it's fine, okay? That's totally fine. But on the Friday, I don't recommend that you do it, okay? So you see how this ADR is now lit up, like it lit up on Friday. Obviously, markets are still closed right now, but it did light up, and that is the ADR completing for this particular pair. That means this one ADR is done, okay, and there's 3 ADRs. So you can make a note, like if you're keeping notes, which I highly recommend as you're trading so that you remember, right? There's a point of time where I had moved away from, making notes, and it's very crucial that you do, right? Because that way you can have a point of reference on what happened the last time. And then you can actually, once you do that, take your real trades, okay, that actually worked out. Now this is your flashcard. Like, this is what you're going to use. Like I just showed with you on the pound New Zealand, you're like, oh, this happened before. Okay, you're going to bring out your rules and what happened before to execute this trade precisely the second time it happens. Okay, that's what you're looking for to do. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Let's see what happened here. Okay, now this is the Euro New Zealand. For whatever reason, this one moved a little slow. I don't really trade this one that much, but it did move a little slow. I liked how this thing was moving. So I said, you know what, I'm going to pay attention to this. I'm going to look for these setups and I'm going to execute them if I am available to execute them. Okay. So this gave us, I saw this on Thursday. I'm like, okay, this looks like we're going to have a second leg, right? So I made myself available kind of early on Friday to execute this trade. I know there's a lot going on here, but don't get discouraged, right? Just look at your notes. Look at your notes. What are you looking for? All right. You've already said that you're looking to go long today. You've already made that decision based off of the higher time frame. Okay, so now we're waiting for what? We're waiting for prices to finish the stop hunt below. Okay. Did price do the stop hunt? Yeah, we got our 3 pushes. And remember, guys, I was telling you, sometimes they can go and take this out. They can take out that previous low and try to fake you out, right? So then you would mark that, okay? You would, oops, that's not what I wanted. You would totally mark that. But then you would have noticed, guys, that you're at the yesterday's low. You want them to do that because we need them to come out here, interact with yesterday's low, and then to come back up. So they went down again. And these guys, if you have the indicators, this yellow, excuse me, these little stars, I think they're excellent because they kind of also help you to identify when they're done with the intraday cycle. Because remember, that MAAW, WVBN has to happen and complete in the intraday. It just has to. Okay, once that's complete, then you know what you're waiting to do next is to go long. That's the pattern. You're waiting to go long. Okay, so it interacted with yesterday's high low. It gave us our 3 hits to the low. Now we're looking and waiting for the entry. Okay, that's all we're waiting for. So look how prices came up here. Here's your 5 and 13 cross, right? Here's the order block indicator right here. Okay, so this is the entry right here. This is where I would enter. Okay. All right, and so this one would take this straight all the way up. And I will use the ADR for my exit because it is a Friday. I know it's going to get to the ADR. Why? It is the third. It is a 3-level push up, right? The second leg, it's the most powerful trade ever. Okay, so that's where you would exit. And that's all you need, right? That is all you need, right? And this happens beautifully 2-3 times within that pair for that week, right? Nice little trades, easy trades for you to take the highest probability, okay? So I hope you guys got some value with all of this. That's all I had to share for today. I will post this video as soon as it's available. And let me see here, check one thing. Okay. See any questions? So guys, what I recommend for you all to do, go to your favorite pairs. Okay. Oh, I was going to tell you about the Aussie. Oh, here's the Aussie, guys. Let me talk about this one really, really quick. This thing moves kind of slow, but again, this is one of those trades that I was just not available for. So this is your high level. I mean, your high time frame H1, right? You see how this thing is just nothing going on, you know, for like 1, 2, 3, 3.5 days, really nothing was going on. But look, I saw this happen, right? And I was like, okay, this thing is going short, totally going short the next day. So this is one of those things you want to wait for price to finish the stop hunt of the day. Because I believe this is the one I was telling y'all. Yeah, this is the one I was telling y'all on my other demo account because I was sleepy. I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and enter this thing. And of course, when I went to go check that account, I had got stopped out, right? Because I was not available. I was not available for this trade. And I wasn't watching this trade on my main account at all. If I had opened it up on my main account to trade, I would have gotten back in, right? I would have totally gotten back in. I was testing it out because I don't trade this pair that often. So I don't know how fast it moves, but I think they move generally slow, I think, right? And considering how long it had been stuck doing absolutely nothing all week, I mean, it just had to give us something on Friday, okay? So look again, guys, you see here, you just go back to your rules, right? Go back to your rules. Is price interacting with yesterday's high and low? Did you get your stop hunt? Okay, did you get your sniper entry? Were you available for this, to enter this thing right here? Okay, because that's a sniper entry, I ain't gonna lie. Or did you take the safer entry, right? Right under here, underneath the order block, and look, right underneath the 50 and the 13 cross, it's a safe entry, okay? So now your exit here, if you were to take this here, your exit could be right here at the EMAs, right? And again, this is Friday. Second leg, you can totally take this right here to the ADR high and low, or if you notice, yesterday's high low is also here, this blue tracer. This is also a good point to take this entry, or excuse me, to take the exit at this area, definitely, right? And this is right in, this is New York. This is New York session right here. So you're not wrong, right? For not doing that. I have this section highlighted down here because I have these indicators. They show up on my chart to kind of let me know this thing is still going, right? So I marked this area down here. Why did I mark this area? Because this is where price once was. Actually, it was the previous Friday, price came back to this area. So this was a good area for me to also mark as a potential exit, okay? So now with that, I promise you I'm done for today. So I hope you guys got some really good value out of this course. And I advise you to go to your favorite pairs and mark them up, whatever you can see easily, right? If it's not clear, guys, don't do it. Don't force a pattern. Check all the time frames to see what can I see clearly, and that will be what you trade. You can see clearly in whatever time frame that is, okay? Looking at all those different things that we just talked about. All right, so with that, guys, I am going to wrap it up for today. I appreciate you guys hanging in here. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Really appreciate all that feedback, guys. Keeps me going. All right, with that, guys, have a lovely day. We'll see you on the charts. Trade strong and take the most highest probability trade. Mark up your charts. If you want me to see them, share them in the group. We'll be happy to talk about it. All right, guys, have a good one.